What's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Book entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father. Amazon Kindle Create Space. The Successes of Black Men. You see, a lot of times we talk about the black community as it is right now. We only talk about the negative, and we talk about the negatives that led up to right now. But then we never speak about the successes because black men, especially heterosexual black men, success stories are so much so the norm and so much so normally overlooked because it's a one-off. It's got a lot of damn one-offs. You know, how many millionaires who came from nothing to something are normally have been black men in the last 50 years? Just you know, how many different success stories have you heard of black men in the last 50 years? Just alone. We can go way further back if we wanted to. But just in the last 50 years. And it's 2017, so from 67 up. How about that? 50 years. You know, we don't talk about the successful black businesses that have been in the last 50 years. We don't talk about the second like Black Wall Street after the Harlem Renaissance and the Black Wall Street and Winston Salem, even New Orleans, even in New York and Chicago. We don't talk about the a lot of we used to call them mom and pop spots that were very successful. And yes, some people did sell those businesses off, but people forget that the United States government decided to run freeways through those communities and businesses to kill them. Eminent domain doesn't ring a bell. You might want to look that up. People forget about that. That destroyed a lot. But in the last 50 years, hell, I can go in the last 10, 20, 30, 40. I can keep doing this. And it's like, oh, he's just talking about athletes and entertainers. No, I'm talking about people who own grocery stores. I'm talking about welders. I'm talking about what would you call that? City contract companies of construction, garbage pickup. I'm talking about craftsmen. I'm talking about what would you call those? Designers. I'm talking about inventors. I watchmakers. Um, hmm, internet companies. Shoe companies. So that would be clothing. Uh, fuck. Food, farms. People forget that about the farmers, the black farmers. I did a video about that a long time ago. Who they didn't give black people reparations, but they gave black farmers reparations not too long ago because of black farmers being held out of the marketplace purposely for using discriminatory and racist practices. You know, but people forget about that. You know, the numerous business owners. They have plenty like like even insurance companies are independent contractors with insurance companies. People forget about those people or adjusters and stuff. There are black people who do that. You know, but once again, all those guys just car dealership owners, from what shit, from the smallest brand to Rolls Royce. They have black car dealership owners, like from the, from regular to luxury to high end luxury. We don't talk. We don't say nothing about that. And y'all could just go look these things up. I'm not about to give you a million links. Well, show me all of them. No, because if I had to do that, you know how fucking many links that'll be. You know how long I had to. No, that's too much. But you can look it up for yourself. You know. And so let's talk about more of these successes. Let's talk about, if you want to get to the athletes, let's talk about the retired athletes who are restaurateurs and franchise owners. Let's talk about the ones who built their own facilities to that are successful businesses that other pro athletes and young up and coming athletes who want to become professional athletes go to on a regular basis. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of these YouTube successful guys, who actually started on YouTube and some didn't. Let's talk about the writers, the directors, like, um, the brother that made Fruitvale Station. That started as independent. Let's talk about stuff like that. Let's act like they aren't successes and successful black men all around you in every facet. Let's talk about the teachers. Let's talk about the scientists. You know, but for some odd reason, people act like that never happened. Okay, you know, and I'm just talking Black American right now. I mean, we could go to the Caribbean, to the Central and South America, and Africa, to success stories of black men, just as easily. Just as easily. The one thing that we don't have that other people seem to have, when we talk about, is the infrastructure. Only problem with the infrastructure is we don't invest in defense. So you can't have an infrastructure without defense. And until you have a defense team, it's hard to have an infrastructure because you can't protect your assets. But that's another story. Let's talk about the positive black images that black men have been putting out, because I have talked about the negative ones too. Let's talk about all of the things that are overlooked on the ground level. Let's talk about how, if black men are so bad, and I know the president is about to leave, he's considered a black man. Let's be honest. I mean, any other race of men, only white men and black men have been presidents, because he wasn't the first, he was really the second. So if white men are successful, and all of those white men that weren't necessarily considered white are considered white by, but they're white, but they're not all Anglo-Saxon. How can I put it to you like that? So there were some people in there that were Irish, which people weren't considered white. Italians weren't considered white. I think Jewish, depending on where you were or were not considered white. But whatever. And at the end of the day, I'm saying all these things to say this. Even when you look around YouTube, you can find great content from black men, but you'll purposely ignore it and look for something that matches your stereotype. Thus, You see the successes of black men. You just don't want to acknowledge them. And with a lot of us, that's cool because we'll just keep being successes. It's all right to be inconspicuous. Peace.